Wife cheated 6 years ago. We stayed together recently. I have started thinking about it again. Story 1. Tifu. By telling my new wife I didn't care if she cheated on me. I told my wife I didn't mind if she cheated on me. She was understandably shocked and confused. She asked me multiple times about this to try and understand what I meant. I took it as her being interested in opening up our relationship. I had no interest in other women, but I wanted her to be happy and have fun. So I sent her a list of boundaries, e.g. no babies, STD, either of us could close and go back to monogamy at any time, ect. I further ducked up by saying she didn't have to tell me what she did. She told me a guy at work had given her his number and she asked if it was okay to talk to him, and I said yes. Over the past few months she got closer and closer to him. I was struggling at work and wasn't able to provide her the attention she needed. She came to me multiple times asking if I was okay with this. I know now she was trying to see if I cared about her. Eventually they did it. And she came to me and said she felt so guilty. I was upset, but unwilling to admit that to her, and I told her not to worry, and it wasn't my fault if she felt guilty for it. We had been slowly growing apart and I was pushing her away and self-sabotaging our relationship. I realized I was letting the most wonderful person in my life slip away. So I started to try and save what we had. I cooked her favorite meals, kept the house clean, did errands for her, and did her chores. She works a lot more than I do. I know expectations for men in relationships are low, and I thought I was a good man because I never forgot her birthday, our anniversary, or holiday. I would always make those days special. I would try to be home and ready with food whenever she got back from work. But I didn't sit her down and talk about my feelings. She told me she wanted to meet with a college friend of hers out of state. I knew her friend was a nice person, and it would be good for her to have a girls' weekend away from all this mess. She told her mom this too after she asked to visit. So I assumed she really needed that. 1 week before her trip, she went to lunch with him and I was so jealous and hurt. I told her I didn't care if she came home that night. That moment proved to be the final nail in the coffin. The next day I finally talked to her about my feelings. I begged her to close the relationship. She told me that for a long time she felt no emotional connection to me, and that her attraction to me had gone away. That when I told her to not come home, something had broken inside of her. She said she was willing to try. I finally listened to her about our issues and took steps to be more communicative, talk to her, cuddle more, and let her know about my feelings. She then told me her friend had asked her to leave me, and he would wait a year until the divorce or separation happened. After I said at least she would have a nice weekend away with her college friend. She then said she had lied and revealed that the trip was with him and not with her friend. I begged her not to go, offered to pay any cancellation penalties, but she said she made a promise and was going to keep it. She went and came back. But she isn't the same. I asked her to stop seeing him and talking to him. She said she would try. But some days she comes home a little late, and isn't hungry enough to eat the dinner I made for her, and I know she was with him. On our anniversary I went all out. I got her flowers that matched our wedding colors. I made a photo album of our wedding and honeymoon. I wrote her a list of vows on how I would continue to be a better husband. I used some of the decorations from our wedding to decorate a room just like our wedding reception for her and played our first dance song and danced with her. I cried my eyes out, But she doesn't have any more tears left for me. I know every nice and romantic thing I do just hurts her more, and adds to the guilt she feels. We have our first counseling session this week. I'm not sure if this is going to help us, or is just going to help me cope with divorce. I feel like such a failure. TLDR, I told my wife I didn't care if she cheated, and she fell in love with another man. We are going to try counseling and see if we can fix the mess I created. Story 2. I have a very cliché cheating story. Have you seen Sex Life on Netflix? Yep, that's my life story, with some tweaks here and there. I was the guy who was married to his job and in the process neglected my wife, who had decided to become a stay-at-home mother for our daughters 12 and 8, in spite of being a postgraduate in economics. You would think that I had hit the jackpot by being married to this gorgeous woman who was also highly educated. But as you can tell from my story, I didn't value her or even our home life and kept my focus on my professional life. Well, enter her ex when our youngest was 2 and my wife was suffering from undiagnosed PPD. They started talking on what has become a frequently cited cause for divorces worldwide, Facebook. It was 4 months of emotional affair followed by in-person meeting twice. I was starting to notice the change in her behavior, but I chalked it to being as armed to 2 very young and energetic kids. It kept bothering me and ultimately I asked her if we are okay. I don't know if it was her guilt or my pathetic face at the time of asking, probably a combination of the two, but she made a full confession. I remember we talked a lot during the night, and it was almost morning before we decided that we will not divorce and work on the marriage. Well, we did everything: individual counseling, couples counseling, improve our communication, find some hobbies together and started dating each other. It was difficult in the start, but I can honestly say that right now we are at our strongest in terms of being an in-love couple. So why this post, you might wonder? Well, I saw the guy she cheated on me with in a marriage function me and my wife were both attending. Dude actually came to say hi to us, but my wife ignored him and I could just look at him in disgust. My wife understood it must be difficult for me and she proposed leaving early. So we left early, but that meeting took place last month and I can't get it out of mind. It was actually the first time I saw him after the incident, so that may be one reason. But I really want to get him out of mind and get back to how I was prior to seeing him. This post is part rant, but this sub has contributors from all over the world, so it's also part asking for advice on how to move forward here. Someone somewhere must have gone through what I did and can provide some guidance. Thank you. PS, one more point about cliché: she cheated on me 8 years after marriage, otherwise I could have checked the 7 years itch on the cliché box too. Missed the mark by just 1 year. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, bro, you ducked up so bad that I'm gonna give my lady a pedicure tonight out of second-hand panic.